Damn fat button up here.
I bet that gets edited.
What's good? All right, so we did a little tail race fishing. Caught some fish and time to change it up. Today we are at Chickamauga, as you can see by the giant silos. They're not running a lot of water today, that's actually good news because it's spring and we are going to troll. And if you're going to troll on Chickamauga, you kind of don't want them to be running a whole lot of water because you're going to be going with the current. You don't want to be going too fast. So I think that they're in the top third of the river portion of this reservoir we're fishing, which is more like a riverine reservoir anyways. There's not a lot of creeks. We've already caught one good fish. We're trying to get our baits up on the banks. And the reason we're doing that is because these stripers, when it comes spawn time, they start feeding up real heavy. And the way they feed on these shad is they chase them until the shad run out of real estate. And since there's no points in this river, they're chasing them up on the banks because the banks are the only place the shad are going to run out of real estate. So we're trying to get our baits as close to the bank as we can without getting them tangled up. And we're trolling along and we're actually going 2 miles an hour. And conventional wisdom will tell you that's way too fast to be trolling, but when you're fishing a reservoir is one thing. You don't want to get over 1 mile an hour. But fishing a river, when these fish are used to this current anyways, we could actually turn around and troll against the current, and we could troll, you know, your conventional speed. But in this river situation, we troll with the current because the bait's going to look more natural.
It looks like a good fish.
You think it's a striper?
I think it's a catfish.
Think it's catfish?
I've seen it. I'm ready to find out what it is.
Oh, that's a good striper. Oh yeah. That's better than ones we'll catch at the tail race.
Pair of pliers. Swimming.
We're gonna pull some boards down the lake a little ways and see if we can make something happen.
Hey, I got.
As you're letting line out, you kind of want to keep taut with the shad, with the gizzard shad, because if you get slack in the line, that gizzard shad can turn and that hook can come around and it can hook itself in the gill plate. We all know what that is, and that sucks. I think that's why a lot of guys will use a Kale hook when fishing live bait. It helps prevent that from happening. She's gone. All right, well, we figured out what the catfishing world needs. Look at bass fishing, how big it is. Who is the pioneer of the sport? Bill Dance. Look what Bill Dance did. Bill Dance had fish out of Okeechobee and just all these trophy bass brought and stocked in his little private pond. He went out there, he caught these large mouth bass that weighed 3-4 pounds consistently. Look at Hank Parker. What kind of fish did Hank Parker catch? Alan?
Small fish, about 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds on TV.
Because he actually had to go out and work for him.
Yeah, he had to work for him.
So there you go, guys. Get you a pond. One of you catfish YouTubers, get you a pond. Go to Wheeler, go to the James River, go to, as some of you say it, Sandy Cooper, and Tennessee. Catch you some trophy catfish, stock them in that little pond. Go out there and make some YouTube videos catching 90-pounders all the time. Just watch the sport explode.
What you doing there, guy?
Well, when Alan loaded up with bait this morning, the bait was fresh. It wasn't seasoned yet, so we got a filter box full of scales. You're gonna try to catch a big striper. You gotta do all these little things that help contribute to your success.
Right. Are you planning on catching a big striper?
I always plan on catching a big fish.
Oh, so when you go to Tennessee, you go after big fish?
Absolutely.
No small ones? You don't go after no small ones?
Definitely not targeting small fish, that's for sure. These Shad Shack's filter systems are great.
Snagging, look! He fishing like he's snagging!
20-pound test on last.
Yeah, we look at that thing like them dudes snagging up.
And we're gonna throw them bad boys right there on there.
Yeah, we might.
Oh yeah, look at them grill marks.
Oh yeah,
They're too thick to burn, though.
these motherfuckers cooking fast.
That one there is gonna be some burn.
Nah, that's the alcohol we fishing there. Damn, that, nah, that's the alcohol.
Oh, you done called that.
I think I'll take that one.
Hold on, we got.
Yeah, I think I'll take this one. Here. You gotta turn that heat down.
I know, that's what I'm gonna do.
There's something going on that ain't supposed to be going on.
Well, it's total lie. It ain't damn miracle proof.
That motherfucker gonna burn the onions up.
Oh, that didn't help.
Nah, hell no. Turn the heat down a bit.
You good? What do you think? 5 minutes on that?
Or what's my discount?
Howard said you catch some shit on fire. What's my discount?
That smells good. We're eating good. Just because somewhere has big fish, it doesn't mean you're going to catch them. When we're putting these baits out, we're running into a problem. As soon as the shad hits the water, once we put it on the hook and put it out before we go to clip the board on, they look like they're dying. They're getting extremely lethargic. They're kind of bellying up, floating on their side. The problem is our bait tank water is 57 degrees and the water temp outside is, or the water temp in the river is 62 degrees. And that little bit of water temp difference is kind of putting them in shock. But if you just kind of let them rest out there, let them swim around a little while, they eventually will come back alive and they'll be doing great. But one thing you can do to counteract that is just to do a partial water exchange in your bait tank with the river water, just to try to help acclimate those bait to the temp in the river. What you want me to do with that? Got the clicker on, free spool, letting that board creep out there. Oh, what happened now? This dude met him and he had them eyes like him, and he was like, man, you got some pretty eyes.
Yeah, but the guy was gay. He told the straight guy, you got pretty eyes. He said, you know, he let it go. Then he said next 2 or 3 times he ran into it, he called me pretty eyes. He said, I had to tell him, hey, My name Evander. My name's Evander. Call me pretty ass shit.
Yeah, he let it go a couple times though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he finally had to put an end to it.
He had to end that. He wouldn't. He said he let him know he didn't swing that way.
Woo! This is what's up.
They are damn long, man.
Gone.
Come on.
Will you look through my eyes and see the love I have in mind? What if I give you some of mine? We've been fighting for so long over things that passed away.
Nice little striper.
I ain't gonna be able to talk while I do this. I'm out of shape.
All right.
But I'm gonna show you what the sidekick man can do.